it has been busy recently. Absolutely busy recently. And by busy, I mean there has been nothing going on, and it's been busy at the exact same time. I have talked to so many people about their thoughts about quarantine and this COVID-19, the thing I keep hearing over and over again is that this is just uncharted territory. This is just so new. And so the response to it, which is a really safe response and a healthy response and a good response, stay home, stay away from people, try to keep a social distance just for the health and safety of those whom you come in contact with and yourself. And it's just been such a weird time because we have found ourselves living in rooms, in houses, not really leaving. Some people are only leaving the house once or twice a day or a week, and doing nothing or doing next to nothing, doing a whole lot of extra chores, trying to make ourselves busy and have some fun throughout the week. Yet at the same time, it still feels busy, at least to me. I don't know if any of you guys feel like that. It just feels busy because I'm trying to find stuff to do, and I'm trying to keep my mind occupied, and I'm trying to still live my normal life during all of this time where I'm feeling trapped, feeling in my own house. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time reminding you and really reminding me of what Jesus did when he was busy. How Jesus responded to his time being taken up by other things. So in our busy, non-busy, kind of busy, weird quarantine life that we're living right now, how can we learn from Jesus and what he did in his life and apply that to our life? First passage I'm going to look at is Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. Says, "And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on a mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone." This is after the story of the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus was surrounded by 5,000 people. Now, the story says 5,000 men. We don't know if that means there were also women and children there, or if there were only men, or if the word men here wasn't actually about men, but it was just a default word to mean people. But we can assume there were at least 5,000 people, 5,012 because his apostles were there, 5,013 since you count Jesus. So there were a lot of people there. A lot. If you were at CYC this year, CYC had 15,000 people. And so if you go into two different sessions, that's 7,500 people. So he was surrounded by that many people. And it was a busy time. And now the story right after the feeding of the 5,000, here in Matthew 14, he goes and walks on water. And the disciples think he's a ghost, and they're not really sure. They're scared. Peter is invited out, and he walks, but he sinks. But between these, we find verse 23. "And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone." I find it interesting that he dismisses the crowds before evening, and he's still there alone when evening comes. Before I make any comment about that, I want to quickly jump over to Mark chapter 1, verse 35. And in Mark chapter 1, verse 35, we read, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed." Before his ministry starts, right here at the beginning, after healing many people, he rises very early in the morning. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't rise very early in the morning unless I'm going to do something, all right? If you find something that I want to do, I will rise really early in the morning. Now, if you say, "Hey, Trenton, would you like to come and stare at paint dry for the next 5 hours?" I might love you, and I might really want to spend time with you. I'm not going to wake up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning to come watch paint dry with you. I'm only going to wake up very early in the morning for something I really like. I've been talking a whole lot with teens about events that you guys like and want to keep doing, and Lake Day is one that I've heard over and over again. We love Lake Day. Let's do Lake Day. I want to keep doing Lake Day. And one thing I found out about Lake Day is you guys wake up really early and go. But it's one of those things that you're fine with waking up early because it's something you want to do. Jesus woke up very early and went to a desolate place to pray. He made it a point. He didn't accidentally come upon prayer. In all the busyness, he didn't just pray when he had time. He woke up very early, made time, sacrificed to pray. One last Bible verse I want to look at is Luke chapter 5, verse 16. In Luke chapter 5, verse 16, we read, "But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray." I'll back up to verse 15. So Luke chapter 5, verse 15. "But now even more the report about him went abroad, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed of their infirmities. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray." People were looking for him to heal him, and Christ had compassion and love, and he healed so many people. But he himself knew the importance of talking to his Father, talking to the Creator of the universe. And so he, in the midst of all that, would withdraw to desolate places and pray. All these three verses, Matthew 14:23, Mark 1:35, and Luke 5:16, have something in common, and it's that Jesus is bringing himself away from people in all the busyness, in all of this, everything going on, all the stuff that's going on. He would draw himself out and pray. Have you, in all this quarantine, in all this time where we're trying to find ways to keep ourselves occupied, keep our minds moving, keep from being bored, have you withdrawn any to pray? Have you found time alone to be with God? Jesus lived a perfect life. Jesus Christ modeled for us a perfect life. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he withdrew to pray. In fact, I don't know if it would have been possible for him to live a perfect life had he not been in constant contact with the Creator. I think it is very telling that Jesus, the only person to be sinless, was constantly bringing himself to be by himself, to talk to the Savior. This week, how much did you pray? We need to be people who are drawing ourselves away to pray, not just when it's convenient, but all the time. Because we can't do this thing without our Creator. So this week I encourage you to pray. Pray for yourself. Pray for your health, your safety, for any other stress and struggles that are going on in your life, and that God may help you as you continue to strive to live for Him and to be like His Son. I encourage you to pray for those who are affected by COVID-19, those who are sick and ill with the actual illness, those who are concerned that they may have the illness, and those who are affected without even having the illness. All those people who were 1 or 2 paychecks away from poverty and were laid off or are currently unemployed because of the sickness. Maybe their company isn't meeting during this time and they're not getting paid in the meantime. I encourage you to pray. Pray for the church. It's hard that we can't meet, and some people really, really love our Sunday morning meetings because they don't see that many people throughout the week. Pray for them. Pray that they can be comforted. Pray that our Millview family will all be back together safely worshiping God when all of this is over. Pray for the elders. Pray that the elders can make wise decisions during this time of uncertainty, and that they can be uniquely tuned into the needs and desires of the congregation so that they can answer those and shepherd as they will. Pray for Buddy as he is still working on sermons and working on his transition from Cookville to Franklin. Pray that he is able to have wisdom in all his decisions and is still able to provide good ministry to the church and good ministry in his preaching. And pray for me. Pray that I can help the youth group here and help the church here grow as we strive to be people who worship God and serve Him and love Him. Take some time alone to draw out and pray.